him to Detroit.
No! No, not Detroit! No!
What day is it? Monday? Oh, Monday!
Monday, Monday, so good to me.
Hey, it's Monday.
Medical.
Monday.
Changes could be coming to Michigan's marijuana law. A new set of bills now being heard in Lansing.
Marijuana is not a drug.
And the bills would have major implications to small medical growers known as caregivers.
That's some heavy shit, man.
Small pot farmers in California say the state is not standing by its promise to protect.
Big companies were supposed to be limited, but some have stacked hundreds of licenses.
I'm hitting it so hard.
Created a cartel, essentially.
You have an industry allowing for businesses to operate like cartels.
But it's a Monday.
Harm has been done by the fact that we didn't legalize it back then.
Well, I don't know if there's any harm that's been done.
There was people getting arrested, there were people getting thrown in jail. I mean, that counts, doesn't it?
What kind of joint is this, man?
Smoking marijuana all in public. You would think that shit was legal. We the Pistons in the 8, 9, and 9. Oh, bad boy.
It's just another medical.
And welcome Medical Mondays, y'all. This is your host with the most, THC, in his motherfucking bloodstream, BERG. And of course, I got my right-hand man, my compadre, my co-host with me, Ed Rocho.
What up, though?
Of course, we got our returning panel member with us, Adam L. Brooke.
What's
AKA Mr. Hash Bash himself.
AKA. Yeah, man, coming up soon.
Oh, yeah.
Get those entries planted right now. You'll have a crop in time.
Oh, yeah. Huge shout out to everybody tuned in. If you could, hit that like button if you haven't already. And make sure you're subscribed. Turn those notifications on. But from the looks of it, I think you already put those notifications on. And I want to thank you all. And also, I don't know if we brought it up in a past show or not, but I just noticed on the YouTube page that we, over 3 weeks ago, we hit over 30,000 hours of watch time on our channel. So appreciate y'all. Much love to y'all. I'll give a huge shout out to all of our awesome sponsors. Big shout out to Native Made 313, Michigan Turf Farms, Nut Abduction Extracts, Tiki Madman, SOB Labs, and Tree Street Packaging. Boom. But here on Medical Mondays, what do we always remind people, Roach?
I forgot.
Yeah,
to get that fucking medical card.
Motherfucker! No, but yeah, for real. Get that medical card, y'all. One of the awesome people you can hit up is Detroit Certification Center. You can hit them up on Detroit Cert Center on social media, as well as go to their website, DetroitSearchCenter.com, or give them a call or text at 248-275-6707. And yeah, they're going to be in the building too for the next Get Back event, yo. So I'm sure we might be giving away some certs again. I have a feeling we may be. But yeah,
at least one.
Save that date, y'all. It's November 12th, 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. Of course, Nug Abduction is going to be there. JSH, shout out to JSH Enterprises, Nugget Duction, and Bread Boys for putting this event on and bring some non-perishable food as well as coats to get in, or it's $20 at the door. Everybody who gets there gets a raffle ticket and a chance to win some awesome stuff donated by all the vendors. Our boy Chi-Town's gonna be in the building, chopping it up on the hibachi grill. Fun Food Express truck's gonna be outside serving up all those fire ass carnival food-esque food. Of course, Native Maid's gonna be there, Nuggeduction, your boy Nice, Mr. Roll Up, John Doe, and plenty of other people. And like we said before, Detroit Cert Center is going to be in the building. If you need your certification, come through and get that.
Just got one question, Bird. Who is this give back benefiting?
Oh, it's Capuchin Soup Kitchen and First Step Women's Shelter. Did I say it right?
That's close enough. You made my night. Thank you.
Capuchin.
No, Capuchin.
Capuchin. Capuchin. I think you're capping.
No, I ain't capping.
Nah, but yeah. Shout out to everybody involved in this Give Back event. And of course, me and Roach are going to be there. So yeah, come through, show some love, get some love, and yeah, it's going to be a fun time, y'all.
It should be, man.
Oh, unfortunately, our scheduled guest wasn't able to make it today, but shout out to Ganja Bingo.
I hope you feel better.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll tell you.
What?
I've never seen so many white people inside the Dab House.
Right.
That bingo, there's like someone sitting in every chair. The place is completely packed.
Yeah, it was a good turnout. Shout out to Healthy Juice Channel. He won 2 for the bingo. He won 2 bingos. He won
2 bingos.
2 bingos. He won. Shout out to everybody in the chat already. I see Native Maids up in here. Miss Rue, what it do? Prop.
A give back attendee.
Yeah.
Impeccable Edibles. They'll be there. And I heard you just say Kalina Bird. So I just want to say happy belated birthday, Kalina.
Oh shit, happy belated. Yeah, shout out to the whole Tree Street packaging crew.
The whole crew. Oh, yeah.
Jenny's up in here. And shout out to everybody in the chat.
I think it's fair for you to say that Jenny is hanging out in the chat.
Right. just leave it at that.
Yeah.
But yeah. No, this Give Back is going to be lit, I think.
Time out. I still want to talk about the bingo thing. I'm not done talking about that yet, man. I want to say special shout out to my homeboy, my compadre, my right-hand man, El Virgo, not to be confused with El Virgo. That's a different thing. El Virgo. I saw this motherfucker save a life. And not just like haphazardly, like the police. With care and gentleness. I was amazed. I always knew he was a good dude. I don't care what any of y'all say about him. I knew he was a good dude, but he exceeded all my expectations Saturday when he saved a lovely young woman from falling. And he just like snatched her up, but not in a bad way, not to injure her more. He saved her life, man. I just want to say that's my dog. Good job, Bergs. You've done a lot of asshole shit that I've been a witness to. Not gonna talk about that. This though, you shining, bro. Proud to call you friend.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it. But what you didn't know is when I was doing that, I snatched all her prizes. No, I'm just like
you picked her pot. You picked her pocket when you did that. Oh fuck!
No, I oh. He left with all her winnings.
Yeah, no, and I mean, I'm especially thankful, not just on the strength of the goodness that I saw take place there, but because she bumped my shoe, and that's what made her fall. And I would have felt like so much shit. Like, not that I did anything intentional. I didn't move. I didn't anything.
You didn't even do anything. You were just standing there.
Yeah. I didn't have the angle to save her life. If I would have grabbed her, she'd have been fucked up. But luckily, you was right there, dog. Perfect.
Oh, so.
But as you were saying, this next give back is gonna be the shit, Bird. Why?
Definitely. Because it's going to a good cause, man. Need to get these kiddos and anybody really coats that they need, man. Like it's cold out right now. I wish I could give people some coats right now, but be sure November 12th to come through. Shout out to White Boy Cannabis up in the chat.
Okay.
Everybody send this out, y'all.
Man, I also want to say, if I could, a big shout out to Native Made 313. She gave me this caramel apple cinnamon cake, and it's absolutely delicious. It's one of the best things I've ever tasted out of the Native Made kitchen. I was impressed. There's like real apples in there. So I had something to do in the morning. So I told myself I was only going to eat half. So I stopped eating it. But this is where I stopped. Like, I definitely ate more than half. This is like one bite. And it's a little beat up. So it wasn't fit for the story. I wish I had taken a picture of it before I started smashing on it. But big shout out to Native Made 313. If you got some good sense and you love yourself, I recommend you go find one of these caramel apple cinnamon cake things. Phenomenal. Cheers. I ate the other half. Like that was probably
half.
Like
the other half.
That was probably like 15% of it. I smashed the first 85 like a fool. I slept good as hell though. Love you, Native Made.
Yeah. Much love to Native Made. Sorry, y'all. I'm trying to share this out to groups. Yeah. We should be having a surprise guest join us in couple minutes, hopefully. But
I hope it's a rabble rouser. I want to rouse some rabbles.
yeah,
Fingers crossed.
man, there was some other events that went on this weekend too. I want to say Captain Kirk had his Halloween thing. There's Gems and Genetics, and I want to say Vehicle City had a Halloween party too, but I'm not sure. Oh no.
I was
A lot
busy
of
at
things
Conjure
going
Bingo.
on Saturday. What?
I was busy at Conjure Bingo.
Conjure what?
Bingo.
Oh,
Yeah.
You know that thing you were at too?
yeah. Yeah. It's there too.
That was a big outing. I planned that.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to Weezy wasn't there, but fucking man, I'm trying to think. Oh, it's THC 313. He was in the building. He's the one that does the door, isn't it?
Was that THC 313?
Yeah, that's THC 313.
Yeah, big guy.
Cool. He was talking about coming on the show. Never did.
Yeah, White Boy Cannabis said the city had one Saturday too. I guess. I don't know. Tom is his name, I guess. I don't know. Ada May just said Tom. I'll just call him THC 313.
Yeah, I want to say, man, congratulations to the alleged winner of the QP.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
she got the fuck up and out, but she
Yeah.
looked happy as hell.
Oh, yeah. It wasn't just a QP, man. It was like a QP and it was like a fucking bong, a fucking whole basket full of shit, as well as the QP. I know she was happy.
Well, they had that Rebel Dog Detroit, I believe was the charity.
Yeah.
And they had like some gas mask steamroller fucking bong thing going on too. That was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I gotta say, man, those Ganja Bingo prizes are pretty sweet. Not gonna lie.
Uh-oh. Our guest is here.
They give out a lot of stuff. Hey.
Definitely. Oh, because once we gave the QP away, they kept on pulling tickets and giving more stuff away. So.
Right.
Got
Plenty of
Stace and Base with us.
Hey, everybody.
What up, Stace?
Hey.
I haven't been listening in, so what you guys been talking about?
We've been talking about you.
Oh shit.
Yeah, we were talking about you the whole time.
Oh fuck.
I read him the text you sent me.
Now I got something to live up to. Jesus Christ.
Nah, only one thing was said. We were talking about a special guest joining us later. And I was like, I hope they're a rabble rouser because I want to rouse some rabbles.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
I'm not disappointed. I'm not disappointed. Let's see what you got.
I like it. I like it. Well, yeah, speaking of rabble rousing, I think the last time I was on, we very briefly touched on fake unions. after something went down in California. And that has since not only resurfaced, but it has definitely become a much larger topic of conversation. Mr. Adam Brook, along with several others, sent me an article this morning that was posted on MJ Biz Daily about fake unions. And what was it titled here? Alleged fake marijuana unions are expanding foothold across the United States.
If I could interrupt you quickly.
Yeah.
What do you mean by fake union? Let's establish what the fake union is.
Sure. So let's do a little defining here. So there is something called a bona fide union. A bona fide union is a union that is recognized in the United States as having looking out for the best interests and organizing of employees. The point of a bona fide union is to encourage employees to organize, stick together, and essentially, make their workplace better and help them do that. And there's a lot of different ways that you can do that, and that is by actively recruiting members. That is one of the ways that they kind of determine whether or not I believe a union is actively, or is looking out for the best interests of the employees is by getting new ones involved. Now that isn't to say that you can't start your own union, because you can do that, but that's a whole other topic. Anyway, so what's happening in not just California now is that there are these fake organizations, which some might also call company unions, that are either created by the company itself. So let's say if I work for Ascend Wellness, Ascend would essentially create their own company union and control the narrative, right? Which is against what unionizing is all about. Unionizing is about keeping the power, creating the power with the workers, and the workers having their own power, not by power coming down by way of management. That's not what unionization is. That's just another layer of bullshit that you don't need, in disguise as a union. So that is kind of what's happening, or it seems to be given rise to that in more than just California. So what these companies are doing, Ascend Wellness, let's say this is just an example, right? Not saying it's true, but let's say Ascend Wellness, they create their own union because they hear that their employees are organizing and maybe talking to the Teamsters, right? So they're like, oh, we don't want anybody else involved. We don't want, no bueno. So they come in and they say, hey guys, we're gonna, here's a little committee. You guys can create your own committee. Management will help you. And, you can air your grievances and we can talk about all the things that you want the union to do. And, we can do this together. And you know what? We'll bring in our own third party. And they'll pretend like it's a third party. But in actuality, it's just a bastion of the company trying to control and subdue the rights of the workers. So you're not actually getting any kind of organization out of it. You're not, teaching the employees about their rights. You're not educating them on how to look out for themselves in the workplace. You're not, giving them what they're asking for as far as pay, salary, health and safety. It's just all a big old kind of hoopla for nothing.
So it just kind of seems like a union minus any real representation for the employees.
It's just, it's the company telling you that it's a union, but all they're doing is saying that, okay, here's this group, here's the union. So the way that this all came about in cannabis, right? So fake unions company unions aren't anything new. It's a tactic that's been used for a long time. It's just a really fucking greasy one. It's blatantly just against fucking all the things, including the law. So, the way that it came about is that, in California, for instance, every cannabis company that has more than 20 employees or that has hired more than 20 employees has to sign something called the labor peace agreement. A labor peace agreement essentially just says that, the employer will not retaliate, if their employees choose to unionize, and in turn, the employees, when they're unionizing, choose not to strike. So it's kind of like, eliminating the aggressive portion of things, or where things can get hairy, or so that's the theory of it anyway, right? So every cannabis company in the state of California with over 20 employees has to sign an LPA. It doesn't mean that the employees are unionized. It doesn't mean that the company is unionized. It doesn't mean any of that. All it means is that if the employees want to unionize at some point, that those two things won't happen. They won't strike and the employer won't retaliate, right? So, these companies in California are like, well, we don't want to do that. So we're going to make up, our own union, or there are other outside influences that come in with this idea, or are, kind of manipulated into creating this thing. And, they sign these fake labor peace agreements with fake, labor unions. And it, suffices whatever they have to do contractually to the state until the employees decide to unionize. And that's exactly how this entire issue was sort of brought about to the attention of the public, is because employees tried to unionize somewhere. And that's when this fake unit, they were like, wait a minute, who are these people? They're not doing anything. They don't have a website. They don't have a phone number. They don't have any organizers. They don't have a lawyer. They don't have anything. And that's kind of, where we're at with all of this, is now there's apparently several of these fake and or company unions that are, rearing their ugly heads. One of those states is in Michigan. Which was brought up in the MJBiz Daily article. I personally have not talked to anybody that has brought up the idea or brought up anything about a fake union. However, I have emailed the author of the article for MJBiz to find out what they might know, just to try to educate cannabis workers on what this even means. I mean, this is a big thing to combat because we're already trying to fight the union stigma, right? That unions are bad, that unions are corrupt, that unions are blah, 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 right? We're also still trying to educate people on what the fuck a union really is and what a union does. Now we have to, and this is all part of it, right? This is the art of war, strike with chaos. And this is where chaos comes from. So now we also have, what are fake unions, right? You have these things that are coming in. So this can be really confusing for workers. So I'd be very curious to hear from any workers that have tried to unionize, or that maybe work for a company that has introduced the idea of a company union of any kind. Because that is a huge fucking no-no. And literally is war against our democracy. It straight up is. You have like one right as an employee, and that is to fucking, collectively bargain and to unionize. And if they're going after that, I mean, that's just flat out like your license should be revoked, in my opinion. What do you guys think?
I mean, it sounds like corporations, man. It's like straight up, like it sounds like something our government would do.
Yeah.
I mean, and I would like to agree with you like wholeheartedly and be like, yeah, this is like big corporation, big interests, big money. But like, if we all think back to before rec, there was people working these little small grows, getting fucked over with no recourse or remorse. Like they're working, they're building towards this harvest, and then one day, the harvest happened without them. And then what do they do? So I've been kind of waiting for this, you know what I'm saying? In the sense that it seems that obviously cultivating cannabis was, a pretty risky thing to get into. But especially if you weren't, anybody, if you were just a quote unquote laborer. So I'm interested to see what the law has to say about these people who have been it seems like traditionally fucked over, regardless of what scale we're looking at when it comes to cannabis. It seems like there's always been these cannabis workers who just seem to get fucked over regardless.
And there's no recourse, in the black market side of things. It's always kind of been that, well, you know what you got into. Now, the thing that this bulletin really, it still pisses me off. The CRA released a bulletin last year where they were talking about the heightened amount of robberies that were taking place. And specifically, we're talking about delivery drivers. And it was maybe it wasn't the bulletin, it was the former chief of police or something in Detroit had said something along the lines of, well, this is just this is just acceptable risk for the license industry. It's no, it's not acceptable risk. When did that ever come up prior to voting on all of this shit, you asshat? Nobody agreed to that, especially people making $15 an hour. It's just I didn't think about, hey, what I accept.
It's the name of the game. Murder, murder. You're out there selling that dope. Murder, murder.
Yep. There it is, my friend. Exactly, motherfucker. Exactly. Trying to reignite and keep that stigma flowing, and people buy into it. And it's the public that reads those things and say, well, they got a point if you're going to mess with the devil's lettuce. And so, kind of here we are again with, the lack of health and safety in the license side of things, the lack of just fucks given for the labor side of the licensed market, and seeing companies just completely thwart the rules that are there. And it isn't all just big companies that are doing this, right? The little guys, especially the ones that
But they're the ones that are breaking the most fucking federal laws.
100%
with no recourse.
Right, because they also know what the federal law is, because they came from other industries where they were good at breaking those laws already. So they know what the repercussions are, which are, what are they? Not shit. And they know the fact that, there is no federal legality around cannabis. And so it's what are the repercussions? Well, if they get their hands on it as quick as possible, they're going to make sure that it's low and it doesn't matter. Again, let's go back to what happened in Massachusetts with Lorna McMurray, the fine that Trulieve, which I want to bring them up in a little bit too. But the fine that Trulieve ended up receiving, it was originally $32,000, and then it got dropped down to $14,500. It was garbage, absolute garbage. But now, since they haven't apparently paid that fine, they're being charged a $500,000. There's a $500,000 fine that it's just they already left the state. What are you going to do? Yeah. Who's going to collect it?
But I mean, even if they do, it's pennies to them.
And it goes to the state. It doesn't even help that woman or her family or anything that she left behind.
Nope.
So what's the point really? You know what I'm saying?
Right, because they need the fucking money now. They want the money. They're not going to be getting whatever the hell it is. They're not going to be getting the taxes or anything coming out of the Trulieve, right? So, got to make up for it somehow. It's just, it becomes infuriating. And, we see here in Michigan where, Rick Thompson said it best. Maybe it was a couple of years ago or a year and a half ago, I had brought up several times that, getting worried about these out-of-state companies coming into Michigan. And, some of our fellow colleagues in the community said, don't worry about it. They're not even in Michigan. And Rick was like, no. Like when all these mergers and acquisitions start happening, like with a stroke of a pen, Trulieve or whoever, Curaleaf, can have a wide presence over this state overnight, right? And that could be happening pretty soon. I've heard, and I don't want to name what company that there is rumors of a sort of deal with, but Trulieve definitely is trying to come into Michigan with an already established company that has probably at least a dozen retail locations. And with that, now let's say that deal doesn't happen. They're trying to get into Michigan. I had heard a rumor, and maybe it isn't much of a rumor anymore, that that Redemption was hanging out with Trulieve for a minute. And, whatever was supposed to go on there did not end up going through. However, they have their marriage with Loom now. But those kind of deals are the ones where all they need to do is get their foot in the door. And when it comes to Trulieve, there isn't one state where they haven't done any sort of bribes or some sort of fuckery, because that's their play. It's not a rumor. It's not any accusation. That is how they are playing this game. They're paying people off. They're closing this. They're doing that. They're testing everything. And they're like, all right, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do? And the same thing, can be happening here, and it is happening here. And what's happening is, the workers are the ones holding the bag at the end of the day. If workers are trying to organize or unionize and that is being thwarted in any way, I mean, that's why we still have remediation. None of these things are going to get corrected until a change happens in that level, Grinds my gears.
Yeah, no, I feel like it's a hard road to see like a strong unionization of cannabis workers, because a lot of these people aren't really growers per se. You know what I'm saying? Consumers, yeah, probably, but they don't really know what growing the plant day by day really entails. So when they get these jobs, they kind of get a crash course in cannabis industry, and they see shit they know is fucked up. It turns them off. It makes them think about the weed that they've smoked and what they thought was cool, and like they have all these realizations, and if you can get one of them to talk in confidence, they'll tell you some shit like you would think they were talking about animal abuse or like some kind of fucking, the mob is operating next door to me, like that's the tone that they take, because they know they can't say shit and they can't be known for saying shit. And in the state, these whatever the CRA, and I guess Laura before, had this, if you're in the license program and you see some unlicensed shit going on, or another licensed company doing something fucking bad, you must report. But the workers that are actually in there seeing the shit, doing shit that they disagree with, are afraid to come forward because they are not protected. That's like the easiest way to get the fuck up out of there, is start questioning you know,
Literally.
Then
what's
you'll
going
get
on here.
then you'll literally get blacklisted like from every fucking company because oh yeah, we can't hire them. They're out there telling everybody our secrets. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the thing is, they're not fucking secrets. They're just like that's the funny part about it. Like these things aren't secrets. If you're gonna do something to somebody and like the other party doesn't say, yeah, let's keep this under wraps, then it's not gonna be. And especially when you're breaking the law. So, and I know it sucks so bad because we you know, obviously all work, but like America in particular, you know, we have this iron sort of fist when it comes to labor, and a lot of, you know, there's a lot of ruling with fear, and you know, a lot of policies, you know, if you look through cannabis company handbooks and stuff, those are actually very interesting and can tell you a lot. But you know, in those handbooks, it's all about ruling with fear. Michigan Turf Farms, what's up? It's all about that ruling with fear. And it's like, of course, people don't want to come out and say something, but at the same time, if you're not going to come out and say something, then, you know, it's going to be 5 years. You're going to have worked for a dozen different places and had one mental breakdown at least. Like what, and nothing will have changed. Like that's the thing. This isn't going to fix itself. It's not, without any sort of collective coming together. And you know, there's things that are testing that too. So like we can do a little history here with unionization. So historically, farm workers and domestic workers cannot unionize unless the state that you're in has strengthened or created, you know, some legislation to allow for it. So New York, for instance, in 2019, what did they, let's see, I have this written down here. The Farm Laborers Fair Labor Practices Act. So it allows agricultural and farm workers to collectively bargain, which federally you can't. In Michigan, we don't have anything like that. So in cannabis, if the farms themselves, if cultivation facilities are ruled as agricultural, we're kind of fucked. Unless the state starts creating, you know, their own health and safety regulations. So everything is going to shift in a different direction. Now, from what I've heard, but I don't have any confirmation on this, but there was a cultivation facility somewhere here in Michigan that tried to unionize, and apparently the NLRB had ruled that they could not, and that it was agricultural. This was told to me by a member of another union. Now this should be public information, and I just thought about it, so I don't have like the confirmation of it. However, if that's the case, you know, there's going to be a different approach to this, a very different approach. And, you know, it also makes me think of, let's talk about our caregiver ordinances and our municipalities when it comes to zoning, right? In some of those ordinances, they wanted to rezone caregivers from your home to the industrial zone, specifically industrial. They weren't looking at the agricultural zone. They were looking at industrial zone. So if this is just, I don't know, my brain working, but if there is, you know, if cannabis is ruled as agricultural on the license side of things through the NLRB, would these municipalities still be allowed to rezone into industrial if they have agricultural area available? Because that was one of the things that was in Armada too. It's just like, wait a minute, you have all this land, which would be fantastic to use for growing, but they want to move it over to industrial. It's just, all of these things are tying together in one way, shape, or form. They were bound to in some way, right? Whether it be restricting workers from being caregivers, right, with these new rules, which that exists right now, but you know, it's just kind of making it, I guess, a bit more broad and applying it to more employees with the new rule set. unless that's been removed. I'm not entirely sure. You know, to what this looks like, you know, from a labor standpoint and from just a classification standpoint. Now that we're in a more mature market, a lot of these things are going to clash, and, you know, one area might determine where the other one goes.
Yeah, I mean, nothing's gonna go anywhere. Um, until they figure out a way to put out an affordable product, a profitable product that doesn't need all this extra shit.
Well, what do you mean by extra shit?
The remediation, the pre-mediation, the
What's
fucking
pre-mediation?
where they send it for remediation
Well,
before the testing.
Oh, yeah. Because it's supposed to be remediation is the whole having it tested, and then once it's tested, if it fails, they'll just throw it in remediation machine. Well, they're remediating it before they even send it out for testing now.
Right.
Skip a step.
Remediation. Jesus.
Well, we
Christ.
know
Well,
everything's
that's
going to
the
be, you know, we're going to remediate it before we send it out. So we know we're going to pass testing.
I mean, it's such a shitty way to model something that you know, that we know how to grow indoors. Like, we know how to do this. Why is it not happening, you know, accurately? You know, that we can't hit that home enough, that like, this isn't reinventing the wheel. You know, all of the things that can make your grow, you know, function properly and keep people safe already exist. It's already there. You just have to use it and apply it. You know, that's why it's just so it's a difficult, the pill keeps coming back up a little, like getting caught in the throat, like this shouldn't be happening the way that it is.
Well, like so much with cannabis, you know, not only is it all connected, but like there's a lot of ignorance. There's a lot of not knowing. You know, because
I mean, the motherfuckers with the most money know, those are the motherfuckers who know the least amount about fucking weed, period.
But they know the most about breaking, about bending the rules.
Oh,
yeah,
definitely.
for sure.
Yeah.
So, damn, I lost my train of thought. It happened that quick. All right, so no, I lost it. Totally.
Well,
I
fucked
remember.
up thing. Well,
No, I remember. Let me get this one out. So there's a lot of not knowing, and a lot of these, like I said, all these extra steps are based off of passing a test. You know, everything that they do to that plant that fucks it up or stops it from reaching its potential is all in an effort to pass the test. And then once they pass or fail, the steps they take to get it on the market, you know, and it's all surrounding these tests, but it's like, who knows how to read those tests? Like, if I gave you a good test and a bad test, Stacy, I mean, you're pretty knowledgeable, but the average person, do you think they could differentiate between this is good and this is bad just at face value?
No, I have tried. I mean, depending on if you have extreme, you know, examples, then yeah, like I have some incredibly larfy, shitty looking bud, and I also have some really pretty bud. If I show it to my dad, will he know that there's a difference in both of them? Absolutely. But you know, what is better? No, we're not there.
But
We're not
On a looking at a piece of paper, can you tell is the weed good from a piece of paper?
Definitely not. Like, no.
Well, you know what, Stace? You know what, Stace?
What?
I would encourage you to tune in next Monday, November 6th, when we will have a representative of one of the larger testing facilities in the state to come on and break down these results so that you, me, and everybody and will understand, we'll know what this shit means.
I love that. That's awesome. Fuck yes. Thank you. Because so many people are like, they'll just, how do I look at it? You look at the back of the package, you're like, I have no fucking clue. And, you know, even a knowledgeable person still doesn't know what certain things mean. Like you just like, you know, what the parts per million that are allowed in the microbials, right? I forget what is it, CFU, whatever that, like all that shit. There's so many acronyms and this and that and the other thing. Like, you know, that's great. From what lab? Can you say?
I think I can. Should I say though?
I want to know.
Let's ask Adam. What do you think, Adam? Should I say? Adam says stay quiet.
Just nod, Adam. Is he sleeping?
I hope so.
Adam?
We're hoping so.
Yeah. No shit.
I mean, I see his chains moving, so I think we're good.
Okay.
Yeah, see, there he goes. He gave us a big one. Good job.
Like a legitimate concern at this point.
All right.
It's like, oh, you gotta laugh at it, right? Like, fuck.
So next Monday.
Awesome.
PSI Labs.
Yeah. Dude. Okay.
Hope you didn't jinx us for that.
Okay. Dude, are they gonna talk some shit?
I don't know. I don't know. Okay, so like everybody thinks Medical Mondays is the place to talk the shit, and it is. But for this, I didn't go looking for the guy who was talking shit. I went and looked for the guy who knows what the shit means. And he feels confident that he's going to be able to break it down. So,
hey, that's
I'm
legit.
excited. I'm excited. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, sign me up.
So that's what I was, what I want to say is like, since it's all connected, I think if we can start to understand these tests, then maybe that's going to make a difference in how people look at these companies and what they're putting out. And then is this going to affect how much they're paying to alter these tests? Like, I feel like education, is the enemy of all this fucking can of scamming that's going on. So
100%. 100%.
Let's see, man.
Because it's like, if you are allowing them to cheat all the way up to the test, what do you think is going to happen when you're like, all right, take it away? They're like, ah, fuck. There's nothing. It's all fucked. You know what I mean? And cheating in this case is, fucking big environmental problems as far within your grow, right? Like, this isn't the thing to be cheating on. This isn't the class to like not read the book and just wing it, like, because you're gonna get that failed product at the end of the day. Like, that's what we're seeing. We're seeing fucking, a class that was never even taught, and then a test that was thrown in at the end that nobody can pass unless they cheat. And who's losing out? The patients, the consumers, the customers,
Yeah,
That's
I would.
the workers.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the two biggest like misconceptions or things that I wish people understood more about the test are like like the date it was harvested, and then think about what today's date is. And that just because there's test results doesn't mean that they're good or that it is good. Like there's some shit on there you might give a fuck.
Yeah.
Just because they gave you a product and you see there's a little thing with the QR code, like check it out. Might be something on there not for you.
And sometimes there's
Oh,
missing
definitely.
information. A lot of the ones that I've seen, now granted, I haven't looked in, I don't know, a minute, at any sort of testing from a licensed product. But I mean, we have one right here. But there's been just stuff missing where it's like, wait a minute, like, are they not testing for pesticides and stuff? Like, because that's a big issue. That I would like to see results for. And if there are results there, what the fuck are they and how do I read them and interpret them as a consumer, right? Is it going to be a number? Is it going to be a yes there or a no? Like what? I don't know.
I know pre-metric, a lot of the caregivers had a fucking QR code that you could just fucking scan and it'd take you to the test results on a web browser. You could see the test results. But who says that that QR code even belongs to that batch type shit?
Yes, dude, good call. There was it makes me think of this company called Rove, based out of California. I worked for them here briefly. They make distillate carts. They operate in 6 or 7 different states, but they also have a CBD line. And it was, I believe it had to be a couple years, at least at this point. There was like controversy surrounding their testing results for a bunch of their CBD products because you would go and scan the QR code and there would never be any results.
Yeah.
Like there just wouldn't be shit there. Like ever. Like nothing was updated. People were contacting, hey, can we do it? Like, and there was never anything being produced. So it's like, I wonder how often that happens. And how, are those numbers falsified? As well, right? Like we know that pay to pass exists, so
I mean, even if they do get caught, they're like, oh yeah, you're falsifying this shit. What's the repercussions? Do they gotta pay a fee? Yeah.
Fine.
But then on top of it, what corporations have done long past fucking, the cannabis industry came along, fucking is they'll just pay these fines. It's cheaper than doing it the right way.
Yep.
Every time. That's what's crazy.
And they also say, like, I want to go back to a Loom quote from an article, an MLive article a couple of years ago when they had just closed down those stores. I believe it was Douglas Helyar. He's one of those CF somethings, one of those C-suite gents with the company. It's like, we like the model. We like that model. AKA they were talking about opening up a bunch of stores at once. And then it's like, we like that model, figuring out where things work. It's fun for us. And it's like, fun for who? What, opening up stores?
Because they have so much money to just throw around. Like, oh yeah,
right.
We'll dabble in this market. We'll see what's going on here, guys.
Because it isn't.
They don't give a fuck. They don't
Exactly.
give a fuck about weed.
It's about
venture
control and
capitalism.
manipulation of the masses too. It's about watching our reactions for entertainment. Like this is beyond money. Okay, these people all have money that we will never likely see in any of our collective lifetimes, ever. But they continue to want to come in.
Right.
Control All right. Okay. You know what? True, but I don't want to like take the wind out
Yeah,
of my
no.
own sails here. That maybe it might take us a little bit longer to get to that point in our lifetime. But you know, it isn't just about we're going to make money off of this. It's like we're going to control it, we're going to fuck with it, we're going to play it, and you know, we're going to watch it sway with us because we're going to control the way it moves. And you know, there's a lot of collateral damage along that way, but is it collateral? You know, it's again, you know, it's a different set of rules for a different set of people. And you know, to say that we're not getting played is you're just kind of playing yourself at that point. So, you know, once you realize what's happening, then start playing back.
Yeah. Definitely. We were talking about it before the show, but like there's all these companies going around to different states and everything. And it's like they're putting in Craigslist ads saying that, oh yeah, sign up for this lotto, we'll pay for it, da 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 da. Sign this dotted line, and we'll give you this money. And they're doing it, and they're thinking like, oh yeah, I have a possibility of being in the cannabis industry. It's like, no, you signed that dotted line, so fucking you're not seeing any of that shit, bro. They're like, all the profits, all the proceeds goes to the corporation. Like, you were just basically the patsy type shit.
It's so fucked. It's so fucked.
And it was a fucking real estate company based out of Michigan that was doing it in Missouri. What was the name of the company?
Innovative Industrial Properties?
Canna Zoned MLS.
Oh.
They offered to pay eligible people to enter in lotteries awarding social equity licensing in Illinois and Missouri.
Huh. Illinois is surprising because they're very like regulatory capture is very real there. They only have what, like 4 MSOs? Unless something else, you
it's
know.
like some Florida shit. Like Florida.
Yeah.
Horrible.
It's controlled by Trulieve. Fuck.
Yeah.
So that was happening here. No shit.
Well, out of Michigan, yeah.
Oh, so the company was based here and they were doing it only for those states, not for Michigan as well?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It was a Michigan real estate group, Canna Zoned MLS. That was the company that was putting Craigslist ads in Missouri and Illinois. But it's crazy.
Wow. It's just,
I wonder how much people actually got paid.
Or how much they were promised.
Yeah.
What they were promised. I'd be very curious. I am very curious to know. Because it's like, that's, you know, one truth for this entire like legalized shtick is that there's a lot of promises being made. A lot of promises that are made with zero intention of follow through. And for some reason, because, and I just realized, like, because we have nothing to really ask for, well, how can you prove that you're going to follow through with this? We're all just kind of like, we've all just kind of bought into it. They like, what promises has licensed cannabis like followed through with as far as jobs, communities, any of that stuff? Really?
I don't know. Because I mean, all I hear is like people getting fucking laid off, or you know, they're hiring out of, you know, temp aid through temp, quote unquote, cannabis temp agencies where it's like,
Mm.
you know, even their trimmers are from like they're not even company employees. They don't want to have to deal with that. Like, oh, we'll just outsource it, have somebody come in and do it. It's insane.
Right, right. Like your temp workers and stuff, your gig workers are, I mean, that is just such a huge subject to acknowledge because it's like, you know, you look at it from several different aspects. One, as the employee, it might seem like it's convenient, right? Because they promise that this is your foot in the door. That's how you do it, you know?
Yep,
And oh,
yep,
you get
yep.
to work for all kinds of different companies and find
Yep.
which one you like the best in all the different positions. And you know, then you hear from workers that are like, yeah, we work at, you know, 3 different grows throughout the week, and one of them is covered in mites. And we're not given, you know, different gear at different places.
Nah,
But
we're
you know,
going
it's just
from
like,
one to another in the same fucking day type shit. Yeah.
yeah, the cross contamination is crazy. It's like, oh, and then you wonder why there's like, you know, whatever is running rampant through, you know, certain parts of the state. It's because it, you know, and it's not the temp worker's fault. Like, we don't want to blame the worker, you know, for these issues. We need to look at the company's you know, decision to not invest in their labor force in the proper way, and instead skate around and get temp workers that they, you know, don't have to provide benefits for, that they don't have to provide much of anything for, and that also historically are not allowed to or haven't been included in unionization efforts. So it's just, you know, and you know, at this point it's like it's being sold to us as an opportunity to get you know, experience in the industry, but in actuality it's just another way to exploit you know, workers and keep you know, a weird flux of people in the system. You know, I haven't really talked to too. Now there are temp workers that get hired full time for sure. It happens. It definitely happens. But it's not often. You know, it's not all the time. It's not a very high percentage. You
I
know,
mean, I've never worked in a temp agency in the cannabis industry, but I've worked for temp agencies in the past.
What was your experience like?
It all depended on the job, you know. I was doing a lot of graphic design, so it wasn't shit to me. But I mean, come to find out, like later on, I ended up selling my fucking boss some fucking weed, and he told me the whole dealie. He was like, "Oh yeah, we don't want to hire you guys because we don't want to pay for your insurance. You know, you do all the temp agency has to deal with that, and you're only getting half of what we're paying them." Like literally,
Sometimes 40%.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes.
Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, every job that I worked through temp agency, I was only making half of what the company I was working for was paying the temp agency.
Yep.
Like how is it like how is that legal?
No, hey, and if in order, like a lot of temp agencies, you got to work the day before and the day after of a holiday. Well, a lot of the companies that you work for, they're off for a fucking week. You know what I mean? Like they got good benefits at that company, you know.
Oh, so the
Fucking
direct hires, you
like,
mean?
so like, you know, a lot of big businesses, they'll give like employees like the week off of you know, fucking Christmas and New Year's, and then you come back like a couple of days, like maybe the 3rd or the 4th or something.
And they had temp workers.
But if you work for that temp agency, you ain't getting paid for none of that. Not even the holiday, because you didn't work the day before or the day after. So yeah, there was downsides like a motherfucker working for a temp agency.
Well, some things haven't changed.
Yeah, I never worked for a temp agency, but I worked for a company that had temp workers there. And like, yeah.
But they were temp workers through that company though, right?
No.
Oh, all right.
No, I worked for companies that would hire temp workers in.
Gotcha.
Yeah. It was
right.
it
So
was
you worked
kind of fucked up.
alongside people that were your coworkers, but they were actually temp workers. Like you did the same job, but one was a direct hire, like you were a direct hire and they were a temp worker.
Well, like not right out of high school, but like shortly after, like my first construction job was union. And I was the kid. I didn't know anything. You know, really, I had like a basic understanding of shit. And I was supervising the temp workers. And I was making like twice as much, was like half of these motherfuckers' age, some of them. And I was in charge of them. And it wasn't like anything serious. It was crazy. Like the way it's all, the way shit's all set up is fucking insanity.
Yeah.
So like
that's
some
a
of these
union.
guys, yeah, no, some of those temp workers in certain situations knew way more than I
did. Hey, Adam.
No, just let it ride. No, somebody call him. Can somebody call Adam?
Oh my god.
Jesus, that's a soundbite, man. But yeah, no, like the purpose of these companies is to exploit the consumer and their employees. They get down on all sides.
Sorry, I can't believe that just happened. That was so funny.
Somebody's calling him.
Somebody's calling. He needs his Roseanne ringtone. He's never gonna hear that shit.
Oh my god. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Right.
Yeah. What was the last
made
thing
it
we were
through
talking about?
Oh, companies exploiting the consumers as well as the employees, getting down on all sides. So
Yes.
how are they? Why would they give a fuck about their consumer when they don't give a fuck about the employee? Why would they give a fuck about the employee when they don't give a fuck about the consumer?
It's just literally no fucks given except for, you know, there's except for money and power or control. You know, we see this being passed on with fucking remediated bud, and like I'll never forget when I worked at Doghouse in their grow, and it was like the first harvest that I was there for. It was my first harvest with them, and dude, like I immediately recognized that like 30 to 40, well, let's say 30% of the plants were covered in powdery mildew. It was, I've never seen that much weed before.
That was
let alone
Doghouse.
that much powdery mildew out of control before. I've never seen that much powdery mildew before ever. Like, because, you know, you never let it get to that point if you know what you're doing. So it was kind of a shock. And I went and told the supervisor, and the supervisor went and, you know, told the head honcho, who was actually the main founder and grower and the dude.
Oh, we'll just
has all the
get into
genetics
some
and shit.
peroxide. Yeah, it'll be all right.
No. You know what he said? He's like, and he goes, it's trichromes. It's just dense trichromes. And I was like, no. But here's the thing. My other coworkers didn't know any better. So like it was, I'm like, that is definitely powdery mildew. That is 100% powdery mildew.
There's
Oh my
nothing
God.
about it shining, nothing. It's just,
Right. I'm like, do you see how it's just fucking matte and looks like mold? It's because it is.
Right.
And you know, that is a very real thing. And then that gets passed on, you know, to the consumer, man. And people with mold allergies,
oh,
which,
look at those dense trichomes.
bro, it was the most broiest shit I was like, this is a joke. You are joking with me right now. But no, like that was the orders. It was you know, dense trichromes. Fucking what the fuck? Yeah. And I've heard from workers over the years that they're like, oh yeah, somebody's told that to us before too, like that it's just dense trichromes to try to, you know, cover up again, you know, going back to education. If you're just confusing everybody all the time, then it's like, how do we enforce anything if nobody knows, like if nobody's taking anything particularly seriously? Because it's like, keep them confused, right? But it's being passed on to consumers. And, you know, there are very real mold allergies. I didn't know anybody with a mold allergy until I went to Washington, D.C. with Americans for Safe Access in May earlier this year, which was awesome. And there was a woman there that is from Anna State, and she has a horrible mold allergy, which she gave me some details about how that is in her face and how disgusting it is. But
yeah, I'm sure that fucked somebody up. Man.
For real. And you know, we were talking about the issue of mold on cannabis and the license side of things, and how it can really mess somebody up that has mold allergies, or that's sensitive to it, or, you know, it might ignite something, you know, that, you know, is on teetering. I mean, you never know. But it's just, again, these preventable things are being passed on to the consumer, and the consumer doesn't know right now.
No.
The CRA isn't, you know, there's no kind of campaign that's out there to educate the consumer on what's normal even, right?
Right. No, I mean, it's crazy because I've known caregivers who's fucking, that's like fucked up their whole crop, and they just threw it out like it was nothing. Like, I mean, well, it wasn't like it was nothing, you know, they're throwing money out, but
right,
you know, they fucking threw their shit out, fucking like totally fucking cleaned out, you know, sanitize their whole fucking operation and start from scratch. And it's how it should be done, but they don't give a fuck. It's all about numbers. It's all about profit with these motherfuckers.
Right. And, you know, one thing that, you know, could begin to mitigate the issues that we're seeing is for the CRA to come up with, you know, I think that would be the regulatory body that would be designated, you know, the most appropriate, to create some real training guidelines that is specific to cannabis. Yes, there are specific things to cannabis with MDARD and everything, but there is nothing that is really bringing all of those things together in order to really help, you know, all employees understand what's going on. And because right now the requirement for these trainings as well, like there's state required training, you know, as far as like the Department of Agriculture and stuff is concerned on certain pesticides and things like that. However, it is only for like one you know, employee that's in management or something. So only one person, like in the entire facility, it sounds like, has to have any kind of formal training on what any of these things are, as far as pesticides, and what they do and how to read labels, where labels are located on, you know, certain things that are used on plants and soil amendments and all those things. All of these like sort of basic things that are really important that are not being passed on to the regular employee. And, you know, currently there's no, you know, direction or directive for anybody other than one person in the facility that's guiding others to take these courses. So, you know, the state, it would be fantastic if they, you know, required everybody that works within the facility to take these courses. I think that that would be a great start to mitigating these problems, honestly, quite fucking honestly. Like, because when you guys talk to employees, like, do you ever ask them about what kind of training they've got?
Oh yeah.
What do they say? What's a general?
No, I mean they're thrown into positions that they didn't even want to fucking do. You know, like they're basically fucking doing all the grunt work instead of, you know, being the actual grower. You know, the overseer. Da 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 da. But it's a lot of different stories from a lot of different people. So
right.
But as far as SOPs and all that shit, you know, there ain't no fucking training for that, you know.
Yeah, like they don't know about MSDS or any of that shit. Like even though it's there, it's there. They don't know. Like, huh?
They might have some shit like hanging up somewhere behind the coat rack or something.
Yeah. It's generally where that shit is posted, right? Like on the back of a closet door. You know.
Yeah, so I mean, the industry, I think, encourages and wants to maintain people's ignorance to the shit that's right in front of them, which is a lot of these multi-state operators are just here to fuck shit up wherever here happens to be.
Yes. And, you know, it is worrisome to know that a company like Trulieve is, you know, really bouncing around our state looking for a way to make their mark, because with Trulieve comes corruption. That is a part of their business model. So it's not like, oh, well, we have a strong, it doesn't matter how strong your shit is. This is what they do. And, you know, they're bound to succeed in whichever way that they do it, if they come in. And so it's really important to be aware of who these companies are. So when, and if they do try to make their mark, we as the, you know, residents of the state and the cannabis consumers, can say, fuck that. Because their bad practices will come along with them. They're not just going to up and change and become philanthropists, you know, coming into Michigan.
Well, that is an interesting question. Like, you know, I don't know if everybody knows, but I think people are pretty familiar that like Loom is also Bell Tire, and you know, there's interests that these people have in the same communities, but from a different, you know, revenue stream. So it's like, I wonder what the Trulieve people are into.
Right. And reminded me of something. So to piggyback off of what you said, Grosse Pointe Park has an ordinance that is on their ballot here. What is it, November 7th? That would allow for 2 recreational dispensaries. And there's 2 different components of it, which I don't have off the top of my head, but they currently have like a ban on that. So this would essentially nullify the current ordinance that bans recreational or cannabis establishment and would allow for 2. There is another ordinance that allows the park to essentially create a way of establishing who those businesses are that come in, right? So they'll create a committee and a way to give out licenses. Now, Grosse Pointe, the points in general have a lot of old money.
5 of them.
Yes, there are 5 of them. Can you name all 5?
Yeah, I want to say it's like what? Woods,
Yep.
Park,
Okay.
actual Grosse Pointe.
So it's the city, I think.
Yeah. What are the other 2?
Farms. Oh, hold on. I can't.
No,
Farms
Yeah.
and shores. So the woods, the
Yeah.
city, the park, the farms, and the shores.
You are correct.
Yes.
Can you verify that, Anna?
Yes, I can.
Hey!
Hey, welcome back. Welcome back.
Oh, how was Dreamland, Princess?
Oh, Dreamland was wonderful.
You piped in at some point. Little sound effects for everybody.
Yeah.
We're not exactly
Love
sure
it.
what end those sounds were coming from, but you were definitely making.
Ooh.
His lack of confirmation either way is telling.
Like, I don't even want to check my drawers right now.
Oh,
So since that was correct, we've established that as factual. So what's going on there is this is up for it's up in their election on November 7th. And the thing is, there is a prominent Grosse Pointe family that is at least one of the family members is invested in cannabis, specifically New Standard Cannabis, and is specifically the Cotton family. At least one of the members of the Cotton family. I don't know if it's Michael Cotton, Sean Cotton, I can't remember, but I believe Sean Cotton is on the city or on the council in Grosse Pointe Park. So I don't know. I'm seeing a corruption conflict of interest because that's how this shit goes. That's how you get these
that's what's crazy nowadays. There is no conflict of interest anymore when it comes to anything, like, especially politicians. It's insane.
But there is though. There is though. They want to make it think like they want to make us think like there isn't, but there is. So it's it's important for voters to know like what has occurred in other municipalities that have decided to opt in with limited licenses, and the way that they have approached things, because there have been some small municipalities that have been fucking crushed financially, through a bunch of litigious bullshit. Loom is very well known for doing that. For going into municipalities and just saying, not winning their, licensing award or however the fuck they decided to do it in that municipality. And, you know, they decided to huff and puff and blow their lawyers that way. And, you know, it can really, you know, that's taxpayer dollars that's used to fight off these companies. Okay. So like when your municipality has to like pay somebody, like if they're getting sued, like they have to have like a lawyer or a team of lawyers to combat that situation. And that is taxpayer dollars. That's being used for that. So, you know, there's a lot of different potential for issues to arise that the public is not being made aware of. All they, you know, might see on the ballot is, oh, there's going to be 2 weed shops. I don't have to cross over Mac to go get you know, my herb anymore. And that's fine. I'm all about like fucking do it, dude. Absolutely. Create more, like more access to patients, 100%. But do it right and know what the risks are when it comes to allowing, you know, businesses into your town that have a history of corruption and not doing well by the communities that they have set up shop in.
Recreation fucked everything up.
Well,
what?
I think having the 2-part.
You're muted, Roach.
I think having the 2-part system's a real problem. Like if we'd have just had rec, or we'd have just had medical.
Like medical with the, you know, caregiver system intact, or I'm sorry, recreational with keeping the caregiver system intact, and, you know, keeping, this is just my demands, you know, and keeping, although we know testing is still kind of fucked, keeping those testing standards that are required on the med side for AU side. And adjusting them accordingly. You know, I don't know enough about testing to say whether or not it's like, but I've heard that, you know, it's like too strict. I don't know if that's real or not, but if it is, you know, adjusting accordingly to make it easier for good product to make it out on the market, you know, and bring the prices up to a more sustainable point, because, you know, the issue is very true that like, if there isn't enough money coming in, then it's very difficult to pay your employees more or be able to pay more of their insurance, especially for the guys that don't have all the money. The looms, they absolutely have it, they just don't want to. But for the guys that are, you know, mid, small size, whatever, that it's just not fucking there, you know? And how can you do it when there's $50 an ounce? It's like, fuck, you know?
Right.
That's a big drop from 2020. Big drop. I paid $50 for an ounce the other day at a the craft. There's a micro grow in Grand Rapids called Love Supreme, and fucking female owned enterprise. It was awesome. Actually, I was there for like 2.5 hours. I swear to God, just bullshitting with the bud tenders and stuff. But they you know, they had a harvest. It was less than stellar looking. But the terps on them were solid, and you know, the THC content was lower, which I really like. It's at 10 point something %, which give me that all day. I absolutely love a good 10%. It doesn't mean it doesn't slap, because it does, and it smokes really nicely. So, you know, even on this like ultra small craft, you know, level that Love Supreme is, they were still able to offer a $50 ounce. Not to say that's going to happen all the time, you know, that's not really what we're looking for, but you know, some people are. There's always a market for it, for sure. But there has to be, you know, some better, some higher prices coming in at some point. Something has to lift here. you know. Quality will help with that.
Well, there's quality stuff on both sides. Um, the difference is that people don't care about quality when they're getting those $50 ounces.
Yeah.
Oh man, the Lions are winning against the Raiders. Just want to throw that out there.
Oh, I forgot to fuck. What's the score?
23-14.
Dude, the Lions this year are no joke.
I guess.
I guess.
You guys do fantasy football at all?
No. I heard they're trying to fucking outlaw that shit. That's fucking insane, man. There's all these fucking gaming fucking like, oh, if you want to bet online. Like you gotta, give us all your tax info, all that shit. So they want everything recorded. Everything. Are you gonna fucking outlaw fantasy football? That's insane. Fantasy anything. They have fantasy baseball too, I guess. I don't know. They fucking
that shit is crazy.
It's insane. Yeah.
How will that work?
What the fuck's that?
There we go.
What is it? What was that?
Oh fuck, I'm sorry. Oh, that was just the ounce that I got from that Love Supreme in Grand Rapids. Baggy, very 70s, very more feminine, female owned. So support, your local female owned enterprise.
Was there any seeds in it?
No. Mm-mm. Nope. Oh yeah, it smells nice too. So, didn't see you guys at Gems and Genetics.
Oh, we were doing the ganja bingo.
Oh, where was that at?
Detroit.
There's a lot that happened over this weekend.
Yeah. Vehicle City was doing something. Captain Kirk or whatever was doing something.
Daboween.
Yeah. I thought he always did it at Vehicle City. Wow.
So what other events are coming up that you guys know about?
We got damn, are you damn, she's doing your job, bro.
Ready?
Oh fuck, sorry.
I wouldn't go that far, but it's a great segue into Berg doing his job. Where's it at? There we go. Boom. We're calling this the Food and Coat Drive Give Back. It's happening November 12th, 2 p.m. to 7 p.m., courtesy of JSH Enterprises, benefiting First Step Women's Shelter and the Capuchin Soup Kitchen. So, you guys already know the drill. Canned foods, non-perishables, lightly used or new coats or $20 at the door. I always encourage people to do both. You got all the great vendors that you've come to know and love from these give backs, including Nug Abduction Extracts, Native Made 313. Who do we got? Fun Food Express and Chi-Town providing the food and munchies. And of course, people we fuck with, Detroit Certification Center, doing certifications. We gonna do a giveaway? Somebody gonna win one?
I think maybe a couple people can win, man. So if you're in need of a certification, you need to fall through, get back, and you might, get something back yourself. Peace of mind.
That's worth entry alone. For sure, man. So yeah, November 12th. If you don't know, find out. If you don't know, find out. Oh yeah, and the Bread Boys.
Yeah.
You know who the Bread Boys
So
are,
it's
bro?
JSH Enterprises, Nug Abduction Extracts, and Bread Boys. No, I don't. I gotta look them up, man. Do you know Roach? No.
Boy, never heard of them, but we gonna find out November 12th.
Definitely.
Boom.
Yeah. If you're in need of a card before that, man. Holler at the
Detroit
peoples.
Certification Center.
What?
248-275-6707. Call, text, reach them online, DetroitCertCenter.com, Detroit Cert Center on social media. It's quick, it's easy. They're helping people out, they might help you out. Come to that event we were just talking about, and you'll find out. It's really that simple. Yeah. So is this the time? Is this the time when we're gonna thank the awesome group of people that help bring Medical Mondays to the public, to Michigan every week? Yeah, we are. We have Native Made 313, Michigan Turf Farms, Nug Abduction Extracts, Tiki Madman, SOB Labs, and Tree Street Packaging. Boom. Thanks, guys.
Sure. I was about to tell her to shout out your social media. If you want people to get in contact with you, stay space.
What?
What?
How did people get a hold of you?
Oh, hey. Hey, thanks. The way people can get a hold of me, it's a few different ways. You can follow me on Instagram, which is at staceofbase_85. You can also go to cannabisworkersresource.com and go to our testimonials page. You can also go to the bottom of the page and hit contact us, which is get in touch at cannabisworkersresource.com. Gosh, where else? LinkedIn. You can look me up on LinkedIn if you're one of those kind of people. Stacy. There's some really good conversations happening on LinkedIn, actually. Very, very good conversations. I'm learning a lot from others in this industry that are experiencing some fucked up stuff and are very smart people that are like, hey, this is real fucked up and we got to start talking about it because this shit is crumbling. So if you're not on LinkedIn and you've thought about it, if you're like, oh, well, I don't have a professional job, whatever, fucking start one. Start a LinkedIn page. There's some really, really good conversation happening out there, and you should be participating in it.
I've had one for years, so just not really got on. Yeah. But yeah, thanks for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me on, man. Appreciate you guys.
Sure, appreciate everybody tuning in. Make sure you hit that like button before you go.
Well, thanks for the rabble rouse.
What?
The rabble rouser.
Indeed.
It's gonna be on my headstone. Rabble rouser.
But he can't say here lies because you always tell the truth.
Oh, but also, yeah. I like what you were gonna say. Yeah, what you said.
All right, y'all. Happy Medical Mondays. Enjoy the rest of your Monday, and thanks for joining us, y'all.